5 to order. Roll call, please.
Anna here.
All chair.
Kipchinsky here.
David chair.
Oldani here.
Seipert here.
Chandler here.
Before we get into the minutes, I just want to offer my apologies. Traffic is tight when there's an accident and gets tighter, so unavoidable. Approval of minutes for June 24th, 2025. Everybody please take a look. Give you a moment or two. Actually, I gave you a lot of moments or two. So if you're ready for a motion on that, please.
Seipert moves to approve the minutes of June 24th, 2025.
Oldani seconds.
Roll call.
Anna, I.
All aye.
Kipchinsky abstains.
Gavich, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seipert, aye.
Chandler, I.
That'll get us to item 4, and that's review site and related plans for lot expansion at AdTech Medical Instrument Corp. It's an existing business at 400 West Oakview Park. Turn it over to Todd.
Oh, I'm muted. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah. So this property, which is located in the Oakview Business Park, photoed here as it currently looks, they're seeking to expand their parking lot to add 17 additional parking spaces at the north edge of their parking lot current. A little background for that. In 2018, Plan Commission had approved a site plan that approved for additional parking on site. That area is shown here outlined in red, and that was to be 77 additional parking spaces. Since that time, they've added 13 of those spaces, approximately in the middle here to the north of the parking lot. So they currently have 108 parking spaces on site. So as I stated, they're looking to expand that area. You can see indicated with the red rectangle there with the 17 parking spaces. This would bring their total of parking spaces up to 125 spaces on site, adding a little over 3,200 square feet of impervious area as well. Per code and based on the usage of the 30,000 square foot building, the minimum number of parking spaces for this site would be 54. Our code also has a maximum parking where it states that you're not allowed to permitted to have more than 20% of the minimum. So that would say that they would be allowed to have 65 parking spaces on site. However, if there can be shown that there is a need for additional parking spaces based on the operations at that building, that those additional parking spaces can be approved. And they had indicated, as you may have seen in the report, that they, in their first shift alone at the building, have 125 employees there, which community development director here felt that that would be a reason enough to allow them to expand the parking to accommodate that number of employees. At the current location, or I should say where they're planning to extend this parking lot, there is one existing tree, and I have that pictured there for you. Their intent is to move that tree to the west on top of a berm that they're creating at the western edge of the parking area, new parking expansion, and also to break up that row of new parking with an island that will be landscaped with a shade tree and ground cover as required by our landscaping code. So I believe maybe the applicant is here if you have any questions. Otherwise, we have prepared the following suggested motion that's on the screen.
Great, thank you, Todd. Would the applicant like to say anything or wait upon questions? Anything, guys? We'll need your name and address. If you want to make a brief statement, go right ahead.
Tom Ockwood, President, AdTech Medical, 400 West Oakview Parkway. This just supports our continued growth at the location, adding jobs, etc.
Dan Rairdons, Inspec Incorporated Civil Engineer, home address 6049 South New York Avenue, Cudahy, Johnson, here to answer any technical questions that may come up.
Hey, guys, thank you. Stand by. Christine, you want to start, please?
I have no question, thank you.
Steve?
No questions, pretty straightforward.
Ashley?
No questions, thank you.
Don?
Same here, no questions.
Fred?
I have a question. Is this enough parking space for you if we give you 17 more spaces down the road? I mean, are you guys going to continue to grow? And will the 17 additions be adequate enough to take you down the road?
Yeah, we believe the 17 is adequate. We continue to add, but with a focus on our second shift. So within that 125 on first shift, there is some work from home flexibility too. So we do have a bit of a buffer there.
You have enough to cover your vendors that come in and
Yes,
see you people?
we do believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Chauncey?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, I have none either, but glad to see you're growing. It's a good sign. So, there's no further discussions or questions. Motion on 4, please.
Seifert moves that the Plan Commission approves the site and related plans for the parking lot expansion at AdTech Medical Instruments Incorporated, an existing building located at 400 West Oakview Parkway with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that this approval, excuse me, that this approved by the Plan Commission shall expire within 12 months after the date of approval if the building permit has not been issued.
Oldani seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Steve.
Bouch, aye.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye. Hannah, aye.
Okay. Good luck, guys. Thanks. Item 5 is review of a request to rezone property located at 3521 East Oakwood Road from RS2 single-family residential to RS4 single-family residential. Todd?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I have the site here indicated as well as shown on the site map, as well as a recent photo of what it looks like today. As you mentioned, the current zoning, or I should say the current zoning is RS2 single family residential. The comprehensive plan for this site notes that the future use should continue on as single family detached. The proposal for tonight is to rezone this property or this site from RS2 single family residential to RS4 single family residential. So the site as a whole is a little over 38 acres, although it has quite a bit of wetland and flood fringe on it, which takes away from that acreage and creates the net acreage for the site is 24 acres. Its current use is open space and agricultural use. As mentioned, the existing zoning of single-family residential RS2 allows for a maximum density of 2.9 units per net acre. So that would be, if you're looking at 24 net acres here, a possibility up to 69 lots to be allowed with that density. The minimum lot size under that district is 15,000 square feet, and the minimum lot width is 80 square feet. Oh, 80 feet. Chrissy's correct. There's no square in that. So the proposed zoning is to go to RS4. That has a max density allowed of 5.4 units per net acre. Allows for a minimum lot size of 8,000 square feet and a minimum lot width of 60 feet. So the reason for the rezone is to allow for a subdivision, a conservation style residential subdivision, which means they're looking to cluster the homes, in this case over 19 acres at the northern portion of the site, and then to leave the remnant or the remaining of the site as open space natural area. In this case, they're looking to develop or create 44 lots across that 19 acres, which would result in a density of 2.3 units per net acre. A range in lot sizes from just over 8,000 square feet to over 16,000 square feet. So the average lot within this will be about 11,250 for the average size, and again, leaving approximately 50% of the site as untouched open space. We do have a representative here from Viridian, I believe, that wanted to do a little presentation or about their developments. I'll let them come on up and take over for a bit.
Good evening. First of all, thank you for your time and consideration this evening. We just wanted to take a brief moment to...
Need your name and
Oh,
address. for the
sorry. My name is Ben Lang, address 6801 Southtown Drive, Madison. So we just wanted to spend a little bit of time introducing Viridian Homes, because we haven't done a project in Oak Creek yet, and just talk a little bit about what's important to us as a company and how we're approaching this development. So with me here tonight is Matt Cudney, also with Viridian Homes, as well as Grant Ducatch, our civil engineer, who has done the civil engineering for all of our neighborhoods around the Milwaukee area. Here's a map of our existing communities today. The dark green pins you see there are completed neighborhoods. The lighter green pins are neighborhoods that are currently under construction and selling homes. And I guess an update here is pretty excited to share that our last home at Pleasant View Reserve was sold over the last week here. So a bit about Viridian. This is a motto that we hear around our office quite a lot, is we believe in building homes that enrich lives and realize dreams. And what that really means to us is we understand that the investment of a home is a lot of times the single biggest purchase that a family is ever going to make. And so we take really seriously the commitment to providing homes and neighborhoods that people are proud to come home to each night after a hard day of work and spend time with their families. Here's a list of a few awards that Viridian has obtained over the past 10 years or so, just to talk to the quality of the homes that we intend to build. A couple I just want to draw attention to are that our founder, David Simon, was inducted into the National Housing Quality Hall of Fame, which is a pretty revered award. It just goes to show the testament to his dedication to the craft and the quality of housing that we're providing. So then a bit about how we approach our development projects. Important to us is providing housing variety, integrating multiple types and sizes of homes in order to serve different types of families. So whether that's, in this case, probably not so much first-time buyers, but also move-up buyers, folks looking to downsize, or folks looking to build that custom forever home. Another thing that is important to us is neighborhood vibrancy. A lot of this is created through the architecture and the planning principles that we use, creating diversity along the street frontage, using pedestrian-oriented designs through covered openings and pedestrian scale entry features. And the last item is sustainability. Really thinking about the land and how we're respecting the land when we're going through developing, and also wanting to share we are the only private developer who's a member of Green Tier in the state of Wisconsin, which really goes towards using thoughtful and sustainable building practices in terms of erosion control and wastewater management during construction. So I already touched on this a little bit. Target demographic or target customer for this neighborhood, not so much in that first-time home buyer range. We're really looking at those move-up buyers, folks looking to maybe capitalize on some equity that they built up, move up into a new home. Luxury estate buyers, those folks looking to build a semi-custom home, or active adult and downsizing, folks looking to move into some place that has a little bit less maintenance obligation. One way we commit to this vibrancy, the character of the neighborhood, is by using a strict set of design standards and covenants and restrictions in all of our communities. Each community has an architectural control committee that then regulates this through the life of the neighborhood. So we're establishing certain architectural language through this, certain restrictions. An example here being garage maximum of the front facade, being you can't have more than your front facade being half being your garage, and setting that back so you're not having what we call a snout house where you're driving on the road and you just see a row of garages. Really trying to create a welcoming community. And then also the establishment of landscaping standards and maintenance criteria. An example being in a lot of our subdivisions, we have a point system, and then we establish certain point criteria for each planting. Again, making sure that as you're driving through the neighborhood, there's a similar sense of quality from home to home, and that's being maintained over time. The last one being our self-imposed rule of 6 that we use, which is that the same home and elevation may not be repeated within 5 sites or streets between them. So really making sure we're not just taking the same footprint and building it over and over and over again to create that architectural diversity in the neighborhood. So then this property, I guess on top of those criteria, one of the biggest items that goes towards neighborhood character and the quality of the development is how are you planning the site? How are you thinking about the layout? Todd went through a lot of this, but one of the things we noted when our first step is always looking at the comprehensive plans was this property was in the housing and neighborhoods framework noted as encouraged for conservation-oriented development, which really drove our path and how we got here today. I guess the basis of why RS4 instead of RS2 is, you could conceptually, you could go in and permit wetland impacts and really start to cut into that wetland area, maybe try to unlock that southeast corner through a crossing. But we really wanted to respect that wetland as a valuable open space for the community. And then consequently provide that different size of lot type. And so here, Todd went through the lot size range. What that allows us to do is serve a large myriad of families that are looking for different styles of housing. And this is just a little bit of a schedule. I guess one thing we did want to call attention to is just that we would hope that this would be allowed to be developed in 2 phases so that we can incrementally introduce these homes to the market and work through the site work in a phased approach. And that's all. Appreciate your time. We're here for questions if you have any.
All right, thank you. Stand
you.
by. Start?
Yes, I actually have a question for you. If you can go back to the slide where you showed the residential, maybe 2 slides back, one more. Yes, to this. The other, the next one. Yes. Yeah, this one. Okay. So I see. So this is the entire parcel, right? That I see here. So the green shaded part to the bottom, this is the remaining of the parcel that is not going to be developed to sustain the wetland?
So you can kind of see the green outline as the wetland boundary, but the green shading is all of the area that we're proposing to remain as natural spaces.
So this is guaranteed that it's not going to come back one day. It's like, we're going to rezone it from another residential.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a condition of approval at this time, but we will have to come back with a preliminary plat as well.
It depends. It's going to be depending. Showing that today.
So the application before you for consideration is to rezone the entire parcel.
Oh, the entire
You
parcel.
can't split zone a parcel. So the
Okay.
entire parcel will be zoned R4. But as Ben had just noted, this is step 1. Step 2 would be a preliminary plat to bring before the Planning Commission. But that what you see before you is a conceptual preliminary plat. But they can't do that without the rezone to R4. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Christine? Steve?
Are we going to allow any residents to speak tonight on this? I would like to hear some of them, if you don't
It's
mind.
not really a public hearing. Let's get through our portion first.
Okay. Question, the stormwater there, where, I know you're going to have to hold your own water for this area. Where are the retention ponds going to go? Because this area is a huge, as you know, is a huge water issue.
Yeah, so there's the two ponds that are conceptually shown on the site plan. And right now, Excel is starting to dive into that engineering and modeling to make sure that that can be supported. And you'll see that further fleshed out if and when, hopefully, we bring forward a preliminary plat application. But right now, conceptually cited in the kind of blue blobs that say swim facility.
Swim facility, so that's
Yeah.
not gonna be a swim facility, that's gonna
Not
be the
swimming,
retention.
no, no.
One thing I will say that, and I live down in the area and I've lived there for years, that is a huge water issue down there. And I know where that water's all gonna end up and go, and it's gonna end up going west. And so it has to make sure that these are big enough to handle that water.
Again, it's a rezone, and stormwater would be taken up once the plat and everything moves forward, because nobody can develop and impact somebody else's property. Engineering's very good about that. I will say usually the development improves the water situation in those cases. You can see the two detention ponds, and those are just proposed. None of this is real, it's just a rezone.
I'm just bringing it up because I know I know by living there, water's a big problem there, so you gotta make sure that it's gonna be overbuilt to handle that water. Because I can tell you what you would think is gonna work is not gonna work there. I've been living there for years. As in the rezoning the 4 with the, smaller lots, I kinda understand that concept, what's gonna go in there. That is kind of a hard development and something to build, so that's all I got.
Thank you, Steve.
No questions. Thanks.
Don?
No questions.
Fred?
I have a question for Todd. The lot size that we're talking about, how does that compare to the neighborhood around it? Are they R2, RS2, or the RS4?
Oh, well, can you hear me? From looking earlier, I believe that the lots here that this is kind of would be wrapping around, I think those are 1/3 of an acre. Across the street, more so about a 1/2 acre for lot size.
So it's
Is that-
comparable to the surrounding neighborhood then?
It's not hugely, but there are some of the lots will be smaller than
Okay.
what's there existing.
Yeah, they are smaller than most in the area.
Okay. Thank you.
Marcy?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. Again, since we're just in the rezone, I'm not taking any of that up, lot size, what have you, because it's conceptual. It's really just the density. It's a less dense thing with the proposal on the backside. Have any questions at this time? So, if there's any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, motion on 5.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission recommends to the Common Council approval of a request to rezone the property located at 3521 East Oakwood Road from RS2 Single Family District to RS4 Single Family District.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Ashley. On up, yep.
I live at 3525 East O'Brien
Can you
Road.
get on the microphone with that? Thank you.
My name is Tim Schneider. I live at 3525 East O'Brien Road, and I was looking at the documents in regard to comprehensive plan and zoning code, and it said that the Plan Commission review and recommendation is supposed to go through the standards set forth in the article 1 by 1, and I haven't heard that tonight. There's many things of concern that have not been discussed here.
It's a residential rezone from one density to another, and Christie can expand on that. As
I
far as-
understand what that is, but it doesn't talk about buffering space. It doesn't talk about the required amount of open space. And I know they talked about 50% of it open space, but that's non-usable, and the DNR won't let anybody do anything with it anyway. And I believe it would be considered a leftover from the planned site, which is not allowable as far as open space.
Again, you know, those points, as they said in their presentation, they could always try to get into that southwest corner, but they'd have to go through DNR and things of that nature. But again, none of that buffer, what have you, will be taken up till he comes in with a plat.
Right.
All that was proposed is the zoning of that big square property. He had the 38 acres.
So am I to understand what you're going to do today is allow them to plan further, and this isn't headed for the common council for a vote, yes or no, on rezoning?
The council will have to ultimately do the rezone,
Ultimately.
and that's where the public hearing will be.
Okay.
But ultimately, they have to come in with the subdivision plat, as Christie said, and then once the plat comes in, they start dissecting things like that were mentioned tonight, such as stormwater, the buffer, and the things you mentioned.
Now, am I wrong in that under section 170703, that B2 beneficial common open space, that subdivisions are supposed to have a minimum of 30% open space?
And again, the property wouldn't be split zones, so the entire property would be there. I can't guess how many acres are being used on the proposal. They'd have to figure that out. That's another thing that would come through once the plat is finished and complete.
Okay.
Am I correct in that, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when they come back for preliminary plat is when we'll be reviewing that it meets the sections of code related to, you know, requirements for subdivisions and open spaces and so forth. That
Yeah, I'm sorry,
that
but
point.
it's just, my comment is, from what I'm seeing on here, if the open space requirement, it looks like they're using that wetland, which they can't do, and we're going down a path here, and these residents are gonna be surprised one day that this got approved and nobody looked at the open space requirement.
Actually, I do believe that open space in the back is considered part of theirs, and that would be open space.
Correct. I mean, what they've showed is, again, a concept.
Yeah.
Their concept shows no encroachment into wetlands. Wetlands are shown to be left undeveloped, is what they show in their concept.
Well, what I'm reading is, such spaces shall have a direct functional and visual relationship to the main buildings and not be of isolated or leftover character. And I would say that wetland is leftover character.
Well, again, you're entitled to your opinion, but I think we'd have to get a legal thing as to whether that's leftover, because parts of it are developable if they wanted to go through the DNR process.
So, and he's referencing sections from our PUD ordinance, which this is not a PUD.
Okay, where should I be looking for my information?
Well, at this point, again, this is not a preliminary plat review. It's
Yeah.
a rezoning
This is just a
consideration.
rezone from one type
So
residential
we're
to
not
the next.
here looking specifically at their concept. It's a concept, as an idea.
Okay, I'll get with you after the meeting.
Thank you. Okay, I believe I had a motion. Did I have a second too? Okay.
And second,
I have
yes.
a question before we go to the motion, because you kind of brought something to
No,
my attention.
no, we're not opening it up for everybody to flood in here. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Discussion was closed. So,
So the public hearing will be August 19th.
the public hearing, thank you, will be the 19th. So, once again, motion on the floor, second, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm gonna call for a roll, beginning with me. Aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seepard, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I know.
Mulch eye.
Ripchinsky, aye.
Okay, motion carries. Moving on, we are going to go to, where am I? Item 6, rezone. This is to review a request to rezone the property located at 7115 South Pennsylvania Avenue from B2 Community Business District to B4 General Business, and rezone the property at 7123 South Pennsylvania Avenue from RS4 to B4 General Business District. Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And as these next items, 6, 7, and 8, all are affecting the same two properties and towards the same end of as far as development. For presentation purposes, I've combined them as the rezone, conditional use permit, and certified survey map for that same site. And that location being the two parcels that are at the southwest corner of the intersection of Rawson Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue. Those lots are zoned B2 Community Business District. That's the north lot. And the south lot of those two is an RS4 single family district. The comprehensive plan for these two lots designates the future use as commercial use. The proposals before you tonight include the rezone for both of those lots to both be rezoned to B4 General Business District, a conditional use permit for fuel sales, and to combine those two lots into one lot. The two sites as current, you see on the screen, to combine they're a little over an acre, 1.1 acres. The northern lot is a vacant commercial lot, although aesthetically very much looks like a residential. The lot to the south, single family residential use. Again, existing zoning for that northern lot is B2 Community Business District, which the intent of that district is for businesses serving the adjacent residential neighborhoods. RS4, of course, is for single family residential development. Should be noted that the uses or zoning that surrounds these two parcels is to the north, you can see single family, northwest, directly across the street to the north, more community business. To the east is all residential use. Same with the south, continues on residential use. And to the west, community business, also the B2 zoning is there. So again, proposed zoning would be the B4 General Business District for both of those parcels, which is intended for businesses along the highways that are dependent on that highway traffic, and it also is a district that would allow for the fuel sales as a conditional use. Just on a note, the minimum lot size of 30,000 square feet and minimum lot of 50,000 square feet, which these lots would achieve. All this would be for a concept of a 6,000 square foot multi-tenant commercial building, 3 tenants. The 2 tenants to the east would be each one 1,500 square foot retail space, tenant unknown. And then to the west would be 3,000 square feet of it would be a gas station / convenience store with 10 gas pumps to the north of the building along Rawson Avenue. And you can see the concept plan there, rendering that had been provided, again, concept. So as for that, they are going to be seeking that conditional use permit for the fuel sales. The operations of that, for the fuel sales, they're saying that the hours would be from 5 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. at night. They would have 10 pumps, as I mentioned. They estimate there'd be anywhere from 10 to 11 vehicles on site at any time for the use of those pumps in the convenience store, and that they have 34 parking spaces as a whole on site, which, the parking calculations for the whole building and potential uses, 34 parking spaces is what would be required. A couple of the key conditions and restrictions that you may have noted. One, that the fuel sales will obviously meet all the vehicle related use standards for fuel sales under our municipal code. That the retail or the dispensing of fuel or sale of fuel will be for passenger vehicles only, so no trucks or vehicles exceeding 10,000 pounds in weight. And then again, that the hours would be from 5 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. Daily. Again, to remind you, these are, so there's the 2 lots in question, or currently, and you may notice too that the southern lot actually still extends out to the center line of Pennsylvania. So they are proposing a CSM, as I noted, that will be combining these two lots to create about a 1 acre lot. And then also on that southern lot, what was the southern lot, bringing that property line in on the east to be in line with the existing lot line of that existing property to the north. So it's just squaring it off. So I believe if the applicants are here, they could answer questions. Otherwise, this would be time for potential motions for the rezone, conditional use, and certified survey map.
Applicant like to say something or wait on questions?
Hi, my name is Greg Schumacher with Cityscape Architecture, 13700 West Greenfield Avenue, Brookfield, Wisconsin, 53005. If you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Good evening, Mo Saeed from Cali Construction, 3834 East Putes Road.
Thank you. Chauncey, you want to start?
Sure, I do have a question for the applicant. So for this particular property, more so at the south part of this property that's changing from RS4? Yes, RS4. So did you connect with any of the neighbors in that area? For the residential area that will be south of this property?
I will answer on behalf of the owner of the property, our client. He did reach out to some of the neighbors there.
And what was their feedback?
I do not recall any negative feedback on that.
Okay, so with that said, then I want to make sure I'm understanding. So for this entire property, there will be one building on this property with 3 tenants, and that would be closest to the residents versus the gas pump being closest to the residents?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Brad?
Yeah, I just have a question about the layout of this project. And I'm looking at the east entrance and exit onto Pennsylvania Avenue. And maybe Christine can answer that question for me of how far do you have to be away on the corner for traffic flow for coming out of? Do you have any comment on that, Christine, as far as, I mean, it seems like it's awful close of having an exit coming out of that filling station onto Pennsylvania. It's a busy intersection, and I'm just wondering if that exit has to be down farther or...
Well, don't disagree with you, Fred, but again, we're looking at additional use if it's an appropriate use for the property.
I know it's, but I'm
and the rezone and combining the properties.
But I'm kind of looking at the layout of the two.
Understood, but no matter what goes there, we're gonna need entrances and exits, and that would probably come later.
Right, so if approvals are granted, they would have to come back for a site plan approval.
Okay.
For architectural site plans, so that would be,
Points well
this is the
taken, 'cause
concept.
I'm looking at that too.
So we
But
will,
the 3 things we're looking at in this particular one is rezone, additional use, combining the properties.
And that's it.
Don?
So, yeah, I have a couple issues. That intersection, I live about probably half a mile to the north of there. That intersection traveling south is a nightmare. There's been multiple accidents there. And I'm a little concerned about anything, again, no need to say, I know this is kind of conceptual, but anything with a drive coming off there, because if anyone is familiar with that intersection, everybody lines up on both going south lanes, and you have like don't have very far before everyone's just everyone's cutting each other off, and everyone's just anybody. I'm assuming we have residents here. If anybody familiar with that intersection knows that that's going to be a nightmare with with a business here. Can we go to so that's a major concern to me. Can we go to one where we show the property, the property to the south, the residential home to the south? That looks pretty good here. So I'm guessing that looking all the way at the bottom right, that's the house right there, right? So we got on the next property. Looks like it's kind of a shadow, but I believe that's the house. That tells you how close. I'm also familiar from driving by there how tight these houses are up to Pennsylvania and how close they are together. I mean, a gas station right on top of a house. I mean, not really. I see a lot of issues with that. Nobody can't think of any. I do find it hard to believe that there was no negative feedback. I gotta say that seems unbelievable to me. Sorry, sir, but it does. I can't believe anybody would be great and cool with a gas station going right next door to their home. We have in the past denied gas stations going right next door to a residential home. We have done that for all the reasons you might think: the gas, the fumes, the traffic, how that impacts the homes. I've concern. I know there's children that live in that area because I see them. So I do have concerns about this item being put where it's being proposed. Those are my concerns. So not necessarily a question, more just want to state my concerns. Dan, that's really all I got at the moment.
Okay.
No questions from engineering. Thank you.
Steve?
All my concerns were just covered.
Christine?
Same here, questions have been covered. Thank you.
Okay. Wait. And again, you know, I kind of Fred, you know, traffic ain't there, Don went on it, but he's not wrong. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Again, just general safety, welfare. I do think it is really, really close to the resident to the south. It would be. I think the appropriate use is business, but not that impactful. Probably like a B4, but a more less impactful use, at least in my view.
B2, what it is now, or one of them is.
Is it B2 now?
Yeah, the property to the north is B2 and the property to the south is RS4.
So it would stay B2.
The one on the north corner, that's B2 currently.
Correct. And I mean, I think it would be appropriate if they combine the properties later on, whatever, it'd all be B2 because we don't do split zone. Establish that in the residential thing. So, yeah, I'd have to say, yeah, I think it needs to be better scope for use. Further discussion, questions? Not to mention, again, not a topic because we get it on site review, as Fred mentioned, with roads, but stormwater as well. Any other discussion, questions?
My question's more for Todd or Christy. Do these have to be made a motion, all three items together? And I know in the past we've taken them as separate items, and now we got them combined. Can we split these up into different motions?
Yeah, I mean, so we'd still be looking for 3 motions. I just combined them for ease because there'd be duplication in the presentation.
Okay,
since they're all the same end concept.
Okay.
All right.
That was my only question at this time.
Oh, so they're the next, that's item 6, 7, and 8. 7 and 8. Correct. Okay, so it's single motion on each. So the first one would be rezone, second would be conditional use, third would be combined. Is that clear?
Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? Questions?
Quick question, Mayor.
Yes.
Do we have any residents, or is this the time for residents to speak, or at the next
And
one?
we were really not in a
Okay.
public hearing, but I did let the last, come on up, sir, you seem to be, sir, you'll have to come to the microphone and we'll need your name and address.
And a reminder, of course, August 19th will be
August
the
19th will be the public hearing, but, you know, we let the last gentleman have a word, so.
Blanca Cervantes, and we're at 7131 South Pennsylvania Avenue, so the home directly south of where they want to rezone. I mean, we just bought the house probably in November. We did not expect that they were gonna try and build a gas station there. So I mean, it's not gonna positively impact our quality of life just because we have children, we have well water, and the traffic, all the noisy, and we just.
House go down.
Sir, we'll just need your name and address if you're gonna speak, please.
Stefan Gonzalez, 7131 South Pennsylvania Avenue. So yeah, the quality of life, like, we just bought that property. We moved from Cudahy to over there thinking that we're gonna have a better life. Now I see that they're gonna put a gas station. Nobody has talked to us at all. So I think that will be the first step before you start planning things around that area.
And, okay, thank you for that clarity that you weren't spoken to. We appreciate it. And by the way, we do think Cudahy is a great community, but we think the quality of life in Oak Creek
I
is
got
very
two
good.
houses over there too. So.
Great community, Cudahy. We love them on the South Shore here. But welcome to Oak Creek. Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, motion?
All right, I would like to make a motion to deny item number 6.
You want to?
Deny the rezoning of the two properties. I don't know, do I have to go through the whole thing? Okay, so
You gotta make a regular motion.
to deny the rezoning of the property located at 7115 South Pennsylvania Avenue from B2 Community Business District to B4 General Business District, and to rezone the property at 7123 South Pennsylvania Avenue from an RS4 to a B4 General Business District.
Gavich will second. Roll call. Ashley?
Kipchinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Anna, aye.
Ouch, aye.
Okay, now you would need 7 for the conditional use. I don't know if it'd be a denial as much as it would be tabling.
So the rezoning still goes to the Common Council.
Yes.
Okay. So I would say let's table, well, we'll start with 7. We'll table 7. This is basically contingent. It would have to come back then. Okay. So to table item number 7, to table a conditional use permit along with the conditions and restrictions for fuel sales at a multi-tenant retail building to be located at 7115 South Pennsylvania Avenue and 7123 South Pennsylvania Avenue.
Gavich will second. Roll call, beginning with Don.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Anna, aye.
Ouch, aye.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye. Then 8 is the combined.
Oh, and I'll make the same motion on 8 to motion the request to combine the properties. To table, I'm sorry, excuse me. I'll amend this motion to table. I'd like to make a motion to table item number 8, the request to combine the properties located at 7115 South Pennsylvania Avenue and 7123 South Pennsylvania Avenue.
Anna seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Fred.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Anna, aye.
Ouch, aye.
Kipchinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
You're done.
Sorry, Oldani, I screwed up twice.
It was a confusing deal. Okay. Okay, we'll bring that one back to the drawing board, so to speak. That gets us to item 8. No, wait, 9. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Man, I'm having a rough night. Item 9, review amended site and architectural plans for a proposed multi-tenant speculative industrial building located at 10,000 South Ridgeview Drive. Todd?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Plan Commission may remember or recall approving a site and architectural plan for this site back in February of 2025 for a multi-tenant industrial building. Since that approval, the applicant has made some changes or is proposing some changes based on needs of potential future tenant there. Again, so that February 11, 2025 approval was for a 400,000 plus square foot multi-tenant industrial building with 28 recessed loading docks and 2 at-grade overhead drive-in doors. So I have that site plan that was approved in February on the screen now. So they are looking to make a few amendments to this. One, they're looking to relocate one of the dumpsters. So the dumpster that had been previously approved as being, again, on the south elevation, just to the east of the wetlands. They're looking to move that further east, more towards the corner of the building, so about 100 feet east along that elevation. That's one of their changes. They're looking to add 4 emergency exit doors to the building, and this was something that was required of them by state requirements. So they're doing that to follow their requirements. That would be adding 2 emergency doors on the north facade, and those are highlighted in yellow here. So one on the east, up here in yellow, and then one in the south. Again, those were required by the state. They're looking to relocate one of the drive-in doors and add a drive-in door. So on the previous site plan, they had the drive-in door here, kind of in the middle of the dock doors, and then they also had one. Actually, that's the one that they had. And then, so in their revision, they're looking to move that drive-in door west here to be towards the western corner of the south facade, and then add an additional drive-in door, actually where that location of the original location of the dumpsters on the east side in that first plan. And then they're also looking to increase the number of loading docks from 28 to 39. So here's kind of a close-up too of some of those changes along the southern elevation of the building, highlighted in yellow. You can see that they've added those dock doors to the south. And then architecturally, just a couple of modifications, again, to that south facade at each of the, close to the corners, changing out, modifying a couple of the exterior precast concrete panels, wall panels. So you can tell the elevation on above is the original approved, and you can see highlighted in yellow with the cloud is how they've made the changes and modifications to that architecturally. Believe the applicant's here if you have questions regarding this. Otherwise, staff has prepared the following motion.
Thank you, Todd. Applicant?
Should say no other changes were made.
Okay.
Thanks, Mayor. Members of the Plan Commission, I'm Brian Randall, attorney with Amundsen Davis, 111 East Kilbourne Avenue in Milwaukee. Here representing the developer, John Schlieder, is also here. Can certainly answer any questions, but staff did a great job summarizing all those bullet points. In many respects, minor modifications, but they're very important ones because we're looking to secure a tenant. As indicated, some of these are functional items. The loading docks, the drive-in doors, and the facility will facilitate that tenant coming in. But really, the building is designed the same, the architecture is the same, but some of those new access points then required some changes to those wall panels. And of course, we have the state to thank for 4 more emergency exit doors, but those are important as well. So we're very, very close. Appreciate staff working with us to do this review and get us on the agenda so that we can get charm is the way I think.
Okay. With that, head out to the commission. Chauncey, you want to start?
I will. Oh, thank you. I do have a question in regards to the WDNR not approving the wetland filling area. I'm trying to link the changes to that. I don't see the connection. Can you help me with that one?
Sure, and maybe Todd, if you can put the site plan on. So that was a change from approval number 1 in the staff report reference January 23rd of 2024. And that was a larger building going into the wetlands. So on the screen, you can see the southern wetlands are present, and the old building design took out more of those wetlands. So when the DNR did not approve that permit, we came back to you late 2024, and per this February of 2025 approval, essentially notched the building, preserved the wetlands. Only the dark areas of some isolated wetlands and that northern tip were impacts of wetlands that the DNR and the Army Corps subsequently did permit. And so that design of the building isn't changing today. So no new wetlands impacts, no new changes in that regard.
Okay, thank you.
Brad?
I don't have any questions other than the wetlands. That's my concern. So that's been answered. Don?
No questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
Steve?
No questions.
Christine?
No questions.
I don't either. It's kind of a small modification. Sir, come on up. Again, public hearing will be the 19th. Sorry, it won't be. So come on up and speak. Name and address, please.
Wayne Majeski, 10220 South Judas Place. We're just really concerned on the extra docks in there now. You're going to have a lot more traffic over in that corner, with Kaylee's house being like right there. I just want to know, for number one, if it's going to be, if there's going to be like any spotter trucks or whatever moving trailers around, because I know like Reiner, we put a bigger berm over there, so because they're a 24/7 access, and you can hear the spotter trucks going back and forth stuff. So my concern is just the noise. If there's going to be any stuff going on at night, concerned on that.
I would defer to the applicant for that one.
John Schleter, 7265 South First Street, Oak Creek. It is not a trucking company. I think it's worth noting that when the building was about 60 feet closer to the residence, it was previously approved for 44 docks, and we are below that by 5 docks, I believe. But it is not a trucking company. No, I don't believe there will be spotter trucks. I've been at their current facility, and they have no spotter trucks.
Okay, thank you. I guess I do have a question. Does fire have any concerns? Jeff, Assistant Chief, is signaling no. So I myself, again, modification. I know extensive work was done on the south to help protect that neighborhood, including fences for individuals and things of that nature, the berms. Boy, it seems we've been at this one for a long time. Anyhow, if there's any further discussion, questions, motion, please.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission approves the amended site and architectural plans for a proposed multi-tenant speculative industrial building to be located at 10,000 South Ridgeview Drive with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that the plans are revised to include locations for all mechanicals, transformers, and utilities. All mechanical equipment, transformers, and utility boxes, ground, building, and rooftop shall be screened from view. 3, that all stormwater requirements are coordinated with the engineering department. Any additional reviews and/or permits that may be required as a result of stormwater improvements shall be obtained prior to issuance of any permits and commencement of work.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Chauncey.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, aye.
Balch, aye.
Pchinsky, aye.
Kavich, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Okay. Good luck, guys. Item 10, review preliminary subdivision plat for Parkside Single Family Residential Subdivision to be located at 1340 East Forest Hill. And Todd, busy night for you.
It is, yes. I need a nap. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this property, which is east of East Forest Hill Avenue, and you can see a recentish photo of what it looks like now, being agricultural use. The current zoning is RS3 single family residential, and the comprehensive plan calls for it to be as well single family detached homes. The proposal is for a 17 lot subdivision, which would be 14 single family lots and 3 outlots. The existing conditions for the site, so it's 7.4 gross acres. Currently, as I mentioned, agricultural use. And it does have a driveway going through it to the north to give access to an existing property set back off the road there. There also on site is a future road that is shown on our city official map, and you'll see that the proposed plat does follow that future road, so it is consistent with that. You'll notice on here as well, there's a 30-foot wide drainage easement that zigzags through the property. Potentially needed to be vacated. Did ask applicant as to plans for that, and there was no response as far as what their plans were. It should also be noted that there is a 0.43 acres of wetlands on the property. That's indicated here, and I guess maybe orangish for you. So the applicant did apply with the DNR for exemption status on that. The DNR noted that it does not meet the exemption standards. However, state statutes requires the DNR to provide this determination within 15 business days of the application, and the DNR failed to do that. So the DNR is unable to enforce or prevent filling of this wetland, though they noted that it is a wetland. Also in discussions with some staff, engineer, utility engineer noted that even because their intent is, I believe, to fill this wetland, is that there, regardless of filling it, that there would still be underground water movement that will remain there. And he expressed concerns that there would be issues for any future home there with as far as the wetness and their basements and conditions of the lot. So that was a concern that was brought up by our staff. The lot as proposed has, as I mentioned, the 14 single family lots. Those are shown as yellow on this map. Lot sizes are ranging from just under 12,000 square feet to over 22,000 square feet. The minimum for RS3 is 10,500 square feet, so meeting that. Density proposed is 0.53 units per acre. It's 4.4 units per acre for RS3, meets that density. The lot widths need to be at least 70 feet wide. They meet those requirements. So for bulk dimensional requirements, the proposed lots meet all the standards for the RS3. The 3 outlots, which you can see are in green on this display, so you on this map, you can see are mainly for housing of stormwater management facilities and or access to those facilities. The subdivision is surrounding an L-shaped road ending in a cul-de-sac with a single access off of East Forest Hill Avenue. They are proposing a single sidewalk, is what we've seen, just along the east side of what would be called Parkside Drive, that then continues north. Per code, we require sidewalks on all lots abutting public right-of-way. So per code, they would be required to have sidewalks lining the roads on both sides of the street. So they do not meet that code. And they are showing that there are 3 street lamps, and those are kind of a pink color, one in the cul-de-sac, one at the elbow, and one at the entry. In making room for the stormwater pond in the northeast, they are looking to remove 5 trees that would otherwise, they meet the tree preservation requirements per code. So that would require a replacement of 15 trees on site somewhere. They have, the requested have not supplied a landscape plan, so we're not sure exactly where they intend to put the trees. So, due to staff concerns that you noted in the report, the staff does not support the application as submitted, and all those concerns have been communicated to the applicant. Most concerning comments are one, as I mentioned, the sidewalk earlier, where they're not meeting code requirements of having sidewalks along both sides. Tree preservation, we haven't addressed where those trees would be located for replacement purposes, and with the filling of wetlands, and that that one, they're not exempt, and 2, that this would still potentially create this underground water movement that would create issues for at least 3 of the lots in the subdivision. Believe the applicant's here for questions. Otherwise, we have a suggested motion on the screen.
Thank you, Todd. Applicant, like to come on up?
My name is Ryan Jansen, 4052 South 124th Street, Greenfield. I'll just start with questions if you guys.
Oh, okay. Okay, Christine?
I have no questions, just a concern about the home settling from this underground water. Have you considered that? Like, it has been brought to your attention? What is your plan knowing that?
So if you bring back up the aerial, Todd, if you would, or maybe that wetland map. So if you see the straight line that runs east through the property, that's been an agricultural drainage ditch that drains maybe 10 or so acres to the west, and as well as this property. So if you look back at the historical photos of this property, that ditch has been there for 80 years. And I think the city owns the easement over that drainage ditch as a drainage way. So if you look back in the historical photos, that wetland wasn't there until the house went in. And when the house put their driveway across the drainage ditch, they used an 8-inch culvert. For context, when we're rerouting this water, because we are rerouting this water, Todd, you want to pull back up the map? That long strip of outlet right there, outlet 2, I think it says, 3. So we're rerouting that water through that long outlet, under the road, continuing in that outlet number 1, it looks like, and then we head to the north, and it goes back to the Oak Creek where the water naturally went. So for context, when we go under that road, I think the civil plans that we have drafted right now call for 2 36-inch culverts to handle that water, and right now they have an 8-inch culvert going under the driveway. So when they put the house in, they put that culvert in, the water couldn't get through fast enough, and so it backed up and created that larger wetland area. But in our mind, the wetland was man-made. They man-made the ditch 60 years ago. They man-made the house. They man-made the culvert that put it in there. It was a man-made problem. It was never a naturally occurring wetland.
My question is actually not about the man-made, not about the wetland at all. It's about the underground water.
Oh,
it's going.
sorry.
It's like, no, that's fine. It's just this water existing there is going to cause settling for the homes that you are proposing to put there, especially home number 3, like it's stating in the engineering concerns.
So we did do soil engineering.
Yes.
Okay, so part of our soil engineering, even though the city doesn't require.
What did the soil borings?
So we do soil borings to determine the seasonal high groundwater. So how high does the water come up under the ground in a season, right? So they're staining in different ways that these soil engineers are able to determine how high the groundwater gets, right? So effectively, they told us the groundwater is basically just below the topsoil. So our basements are going to be, so we're bringing in a lot of dirt, right? So we're gonna raise the site up probably 6 feet. Our basements are going to be basically at the current level of the ground right now. So we're building everything up out of the water, up out of the water table, and we're using, it's either 6 inches or 1 foot as a distance. So if this is seasonal high groundwater, our lowest floor, so our basement floor is gonna be 1 foot above, 6 inches or a foot above that at a minimum. So these houses should not have any sump pumps running. You shouldn't have any calls for, multiple sump pumps. You won't have all the hoses laying over the yard like some of the developments that didn't have these requirements. And, Ashley and I have been talking about it because the city doesn't have an ordinance that requires that 1 foot of separation. Like City of Muskego has a 2 foot. There's municipalities that have Menominee Falls is a 3 foot separation. So like if this was in Menominee Falls, the basement floor would be 3 feet above, the ground as it is right now. So while it is a wet site, and that's all the sites really that are left, most of the sites in Oak Creek are wet, most of the sites anywhere are wet. All the high ground has been developed, so we are being responsible about it, and we're, building homes up out of the groundwater table to avoid problems like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Steve?
No questions.
Just to touch on that a little bit more, we did do a very preliminary review of the stormwater for this site, and that being one of the concerns that was brought up, and just that the developer will be required to provide that information to the city with that groundwater data. So that's something that we did not have at the time that this was being reviewed. So a question, a comment, concern that was brought up, and requesting that information. So once we have that information, we should have a better level of comfort at that time.
Ashley? Is that one of the conditions?
Well, it's not ordained, so I'm just because
Right
I
here,
have
that
it,
all
and
required
we're just giving
development
it.
and stormwater agreements and land use building permits are coordinated with the
So we're going to require it with the submittal of their stormwater management plan is what will happen.
Be a good practice probably for the earlier subdivision as well, being wet, is to make sure they provide some of that
And
data.
you're not that far along.
Right.
Okay.
You
Oh,
guys-
sorry, Ashley, were you done?
Yeah, essentially. I mean, a lot of our concerns that are listed in this report here were based on preliminary, looking at some of the contours on there, just with some of the slopes and whatnot coming off of the homes, having further discussions with the designer. I was told that some of that is being modified. So again, a lot of the stuff that we're looking at and basing is on preliminary, which can be fine-tuned as we move on. And a lot of it's more or less just that awareness and getting it out to some of those potential home buyers with storm sewer easements that are on properties, and making those homeowners aware that you aren't able to put a fence in those areas or aren't able to put a shed, in a drainage easement. So a lot of it, it's not necessarily like a no, this isn't possible. It's more of an awareness that homeowners, potential home buyers, know what they're going to be.
Can you guys go back to the slide where, with your non-recommendations, I guess, I don't know how to say it. Yeah. Are you open to more time to get these things? Is that it, or are we kind of like exhausted at this point where it's just you just don't support this at all?
Well, I mean, so we've, through the process, have been in communication with the applicant and have asked for things and not provided them, told they weren't going to be provided them at this time, or when we had mentioned to them that the sidewalks are required by code, they said, well, no, they're not going to be.
Okay. All right. Then I guess that's my only question for now.
Do you want me to, can I comment, Dan?
Sure.
So the couple of things that were, the reason for the sidewalks is I want to have a discussion with you guys about the sidewalks on the one side of the street as opposed to all the way around. So that's the reason I didn't bring in a proposal showing the sidewalks everywhere, because if I bring in something like that, it's kind of hard to go backwards instead of going forwards, right? So I found it interesting in researching the code recently that, you know, we're doing stone brick on the park, the condos next to Abendschein, and with that approval, we have sidewalks on one side of the street. We have trail side court, which is 500-600 feet. There's no sidewalks at all. But it serves the neighborhood. It gets people around safely. It gets them to the park. And, you know, I kind of took that same sort of direction with this one. I mean, if you really look at the map, if you pull it back up, Ted, if you really look at the map, we have a paved path going from the sidewalk into the park, all right? I would say that I doubt there's going to be very many people that are just doing loops on the sidewalk around the court. Most people are getting to this sidewalk and getting out to the park, or they're just walking down this 200-foot cul-de-sac. There's no through traffic. There's, you know, it's residential traffic to get to the park. So in the interest of, you know, affordable housing and the cost of development lately, which I think we all know are ridiculous, I mean, is it going to get used? Is it worth the effort? Is it worth the cost? Is it worth the effort? Is it worth, you know, I mean, on the left side of the street, you're going down side yards of two houses. It's 400 feet of sidewalk that, you know, you could just go across one street and hop on the sidewalk that's there. So that's the conversation that I wanted to have. That's why I didn't provide a plan that shows sidewalks all the way around. The other item is a landscape plan, and if you look at the requirements for a preliminary plat submittal, a landscape plan isn't a requirement of a preliminary plat submittal, which is why I haven't provided one yet. All of these things cost money, right? You invest in the project in steps, you get to a preliminary plat approval, and then you start going through with staff, you know, some of the other requirements of the code, you know, be it the sidewalks, be it landscape plans, you know, where we're going to put the 15 trees, things like that.
Guys, go back to that slide again. So, for anyone who doesn't know, it's pretty rare that we get what you see up there. So to me, like, these things are probably routinely asked for and routinely provided. I know they put in a lot of work. I trust their work that they do. If they have concerns, I usually heed their concerns personally. Can't speak for the rest of the commissioners, but this is an unusual comment here. You know, I gotta believe that, you know, when they're asking for something, it's provided or should be provided. Regardless that if an applicant feels it's a waste of time or it's too expensive to come up with those plans, they are normally provided. We've seen it come through here consistently, almost every single time. They don't. No, can't think of anybody who said, like, you know, I'm just not going to provide that because, you know, it's not. It's not practical.
No, it's because it's not a requirement for a preliminary plat submittal in your ordinance.
Okay.
If it was a requirement of a preliminary plat submittal in your ordinance, then I would have to provide it.
Okay.
That's part of the reason.
Okay. If that's part of the reason, that's fine. But again, I mean, everybody, they ask this of every development, and they get it in every development. This is very unusual to see this, and that's all I'm saying. You know, we like to stay consistent. I probably just stole Dan's thunder because he loves to say that. We like to stay consistent on how things come through the city and through planning and through the common council. And this is very inconsistent from what I'm seeing. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. We usually take these kinds of comments pretty seriously. I do appreciate you, you know, giving us your side of the story. I was listening, but I just wanted to throw that out there and let you know, like, how unusual this is. That's all I got, Dan.
Fred, you're up.
Yeah, I would still have concern about the wetlands and the DNR getting back to you, which they never have yet.
Oh, they've issued a letter.
Have they got back to you?
Yeah, it's, as Todd
They
explained.
did, it just took longer than, sorry, it took longer than the 15 days, business days that they're required to give a response back in. And it was longer than that in their response. So statutes say that since it was beyond that 15 days, they no longer can enforce or, you know, they're allowed to fill the wetlands.
Okay.
So that's what the letter said, they're allowed to fill.
Yep, the letter stated that, but also noted that regardless, it is non-exempt. And they noted that there was photo history of this wetland back to like the 30s.
As the,
I believe he said there was no history of it, but of the wetlands, but their letter stated that there was photos for aerial photos from the 30s stating that there was evidence of wetlands. But their letter ultimately said that they're not exempt from wetlands.
Again,
Technicality.
I'm concerned about that wetlands and the drainage, that you could have problems. And I'm just wondering if you have control or trying to control that drainage that you're gonna have on those lots of 12, 13, and 14.
Right, so the drainage that was going through that angled agricultural ditch is now gonna go through to the south of those properties, so that the water that's there will no longer be there.
sorry, sir, you can't speak from there. Hold tight. Still got the floor, Fred.
So as part of the engineering, all of that is taken into consideration. How much water is coming from, I mean, because we have to handle, I don't, do you remember how many acres? It's like, it's quite a few, 10, 15 acres?
It's a good amount of area, yeah,
Right,
coming
even
from the
across the trail, there's culverts that go underneath the trail that bring water down, and all of that goes through this site. So we have to make sure that we don't block that up for residents to the west. So all of that water has to come through our site and then out to the Oak Creek, which is on the east of us. So the same place that it's going now is gonna be the same place that it's gonna end up. It's just taking a different path.
DNR has agreed with you on that.
Well, the DNR doesn't really review what, that's more Ashley reviews how we're getting the water from A to B. Right.
Thank you.
Okay, I do have a question. Okay, so help me understand. Well, I want to make sure I'm understanding. So there are issues with water, and the recommendation is just to reroute it to eliminate those water issues? Am I understanding that correctly? Because now it's a different path?
Can you pull the wetland map up? Go back one, maybe it shows it on the, does it show the wetland over? You can kind of see on the map, sorry. You can kind of see through 12, 13, 14, they underlaid that old drainage ditch. So what it was back in the day when the farm fields didn't drain, they would take the low spot and they would dig a drainage ditch, and all the water would come through there. So all that water, if you follow that straight line, it goes through where our, kind of where our pond is, and then to the east is the Oak Creek. So all the water that comes from the other side of the walking trail and beyond, anything that pitches this way comes across those properties. It goes through 2 or 3 different culverts. It ends up in this drainage ditch. It follows this drainage ditch through the property and then out to the Oak Creek. So all we're doing is, instead of going through the property with it, we're taking it straight across that green strip underneath the road and then up back into the Oak Creek. So in fact, you know, because when they put this single family house in there, they used too small of a culvert, we're actually going to create a drainage way that is able to actually handle all of the water. So what I'm saying is where they put in the driveway for that house, they used a pipe like this. We're using 2 pipes like this to get all the water through.
So I guess I'm not understanding. How do you know that will solve the water issue?
Well, because that's where the water comes from. And that while the engineers that design the project can calculate, the area of water that comes through, they can calculate that down and figure out how big of a pipes you need to get it to all go through, and that's above my pay grade, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
But I mean, Ashley could probably comment that, that's what the stormwater management plan and system.
And the
is
reason
designed
I'm asking, because I think you identified agricultural drainage ditch is there. And so you're kind of recreating this just with large pipes now. And so it will be water flowing due to gravity and not actual pumps?
Correct. So this was, when all of this area was agricultural, it's how they drain their fields. This is the last, I mean, I think to the west, that's all residences. I don't think any of that's really farmed anymore. So this is the last, really little bit of agricultural that's left, that we're draining at least.
Okay. Let's see. Then one additional question. So for the residents that are near this area, did you connect with any of those other residents?
So I did talk to the neighbor on the property, and then I talked to the neighbor immediately adjacent to the west. So I have their contact information. I keep them updated with.
And their
things that are going.
feedback?
Hang on, can't speak from the audience. Hang tight.
And their
Patience.
feedback about the
Sorry, what?
changes and their feedback? Or did they provide you feedback, I should say?
So the neighbor that's on the property didn't seem have much to say really. It was noon and he came out in his pajamas. He didn't really seem too concerned. And then the neighbor immediately at the bottom there, I talked to a gal. She was having her roof done. I have her number on my phone. I forget her name, but I did talk to her, and she was pleased that we were trying to get the stormwater pond where lots 1 and 2 were. We just couldn't make it work. So that was the last time that I had spoken to her. This was when we were doing soil testing. So this was in the summer.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, spring. That would have been spring.
Just have one
Go ahead.
one more comment about the sidewalk. Even though you may think that there is no actual sidewalk to connect to, sidewalk, if you look back, like Ashley mentioned in the FDM for the state and other, is for the safety. So walking in the roadway is not a safe environment for a pedestrian. So adding the sidewalk is for the pedestrian safety.
Sure, and I understand that. And I just
I know that
found it in-
maintenance and the costs.
Well,
it's
and I just found
costly.
it interesting that, I mean, we did Stonebrook, which has considerably more residents than this, and one side was enough to get those people to the park safely, but in this approval, it's required on both sides. I guess I don't understand. It's both residential, it's both, I don't understand why these are different.
I was not there at the other one, so I can just talk about what I see.
Right. So I guess I was just going for practicality and what, you guys publish housing reports and things like that, and they talk about the need for single-family homes and the cost, and you guys in the 2024 report, you were looking to reduce costs by 20% in time, and then I come to a proposal with a way to reduce costs and try to do some single-family development, and it just seems that we keep adding things,
Oh, we
and
get it. We
sidewalks
get it,
and-
but I can tell you my subdivision has them on both sides.
And if that's what you guys decide, that's what you decide. I just wanted to have the conversation.
Okay,
Right.
so, cool. Yes. Yeah, anything else?
One additional thing.
Yep,
Is,
go ahead.
is this the time, if possible, residents may have a question for them to come up or later?
I'd kind of like to finish the discussion up here first.
Oh,
and
my
then
apologies.
I do have a couple people I want to say a few things, and again, not a public hearing, but I allowed the last couple. Okay, the sidewalks, so I mean, we kind of went round and round with it. It is our code, it just is. Kind of get you in some regards as well, but you just kind of said if that's the way it falls, that's the way it falls. So, and you can argue they're not needed on one side of the street, maybe the other. To Christine's point, it's pedestrian safety, and also it's very arguable if you have a special needs person, they need it on both sides. But anyhow, trees. So, you know, that was a hang up too. Somebody got into the trees. Where to put 15 of them? You know, you can go along the road where the sidewalk goes. I don't know. But again, you know, the trees have to happen as well. The biggest thing that's really just stormwater. So just Ashley or somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that water flows from the southwest corner of this property to the northeast.
Existing flow patterns, you're saying? Or
Existing, yes.
Existing, yes.
Does the water flow south to north?
Yeah, like southwest to northeast,
East,
essentially.
exactly.
Yeah, it comes from the west and it goes
Okay, so
to
the
the
pipe's
east.
the hang up. So then we put in the homes, water's still gonna flow that way, 12, 13, 14, right? But we're gonna raise those 6 feet?
The majority, so the high side is the northwest.
You guys flip
Right,
back.
so the rest of them will be raised, anywhere between 5 and 6 feet out of the groundwater. I think 1, 2, and 3 will have more of a bungalow type design where we only have, you know, a 4-foot foundation and a raised, you know, front porch. So there'll be some creative design with keeping garages, so you don't have really steep driveways, so keeping garages low, the house out of the groundwater, and then you'll just end up having some steps up to the front door.
But
big front porches.
primarily, the water's still gonna flow through 12, 13, 14 to get
No, because it comes down, there's a swale, anything that comes from offsite, there's a swale behind 9, 10, 11 that runs the water back around to where it goes. So
Wait a
that-
minute, wait a second, man. I'm getting confused here.
Sorry.
I was just stated and told it goes from the southwest corner diagonally to the northeast to hit that pond.
Existing, right. So the existing. So
So
then
when we change it, what's gonna tell the water to change direction?
the grading is going to be redone. So we did see some preliminary contours
On
that is
where,
then.
12, 13, 14?
So in that OL number 3, that outlot, that 25-foot
Yeah.
width, that's where, from what I understand, that water is being essentially diverted to that area to continue east
Okay.
instead of diagonally.
And I say this consistently. We want to improve water conditions for existing homes that sit to the south. And as I look at it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess. Right? 5 residents sit to the south. 3? Why am I counting 5 buildings? Oh, they're probably detached garages or something.
So lot 3 is a drainage swale, Dan. Like anything that comes down hits the swale and it goes straight east. There's, the condition will be actually improved.
On that.
The condition will be actually improved from what it currently is for those 5 residents. It's a requirement. There would be no way that engineering would approve it otherwise.
I mean, I trust my engineering. But probably because oh, I'm sorry.
You're saying
Okay,
to the
so
east?
then it's going that way. I'm just okay. Okay, let me take 5 because obviously I'm missing something here. I'm gonna just invite those couple residents up. Guys, we'll need your name and addresses, and ma'am, if you're coming up too. Because there was a greenhouse to the, I know that flooded heavily a lot of years back, and I know a lot of this is a challenging property for him to take on, without a doubt.
Sure is. My name is Stephen Dombrowski. I live at 1150 East Forest Hill Avenue. I am the property directly west of this proposition. I can tell you that nobody has talked to us at all. We've seen the workers in the field, but nobody has knocked on our door to ask us any questions or to tell us anything about what was even going on. We had to find out from online what was actually going on. And I could tell you why this might be unsettling to you at this moment, because I can tell you our front yard is wetlands. All the water coming from the west of us settles into our property. It's been like that forever. And when it floods, it really floods. And the previous owner that we purchased it from, I believe you guys required her to put like a $30,000 culvert in that was wide enough for water to roll through. And even with that, some of the rains that we have gotten in the past have flooded, and the water has actually kind of come up to that level. Now, if that's a ditch issue or a culvert pipe issue, like, I'm not buying it. You can see from the aerial footage the discoloration of where that water flows, and from what the proposition is, that little green line that they were showing through that property, like that's all going to flood. That water's got to get redirected somewhere, and the existing homeowners are the ones that are going to be suffering from that.
Thank you, sir.
And sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm also concerned with the raising of the property. The proposition, I believe, was like 6 feet. So we're thinking, so our driveway is all gravel. It's a very long driveway. So we're concerned with that as well, with a bunch of houses that are going to be above our property. Also, I'm concerned with the whole, I know that you talked about the DNR thing, because it wasn't, sorry, I had notes about this, but it's like the DNR never got back or deemed it like able to be built because of the wetlands. But I just don't see how they could just fill that in, and then that's just gonna figure it out by just putting big pipes in, because we still have wetlands on our property. Like, that water's gotta go somewhere too, and it's gonna continue to be wetlands. And when it gets flooded, that water's gonna go into the backyard of our neighbors. So that's very concerning. Also, we're above that property, and our sump pump is constantly going. So they talk about how creative modifications for these homes, well, there's a reason for that. Because they know there's already going to be problems.
Thank you.
I'm Kathy Bernicki. I live at 1100 East Forest Hill. I'm only 2 doors west of this. And we have what's called in front of us a navigable stream. So I don't know how navigable water is different from floodplain or whatever, but I can show you pictures. I took pictures for Steve Krukowski of our flooded area in the front, off to the side, and also in the property that they're speaking to build in, that it was just water just sitting there with nowhere to go. Also, when you think about the northeast corner, there's also a lot of water that stands in Abendschein Park in that corner. So there's a lot of other drainage issues that are where people can't even use the walk path because the water is so high up in the creek. So, and saying that there's no farming done, my parents live at 1020 East Forest Hill, and that is farmed in the front. And depending on what kind of season we have, sometimes the farmer doesn't have the crops. So he doesn't know, they don't know our property or our problems, and I don't know if it's all, I appreciate that she wants to build only 14 homes rather than 22 side-by-sides, I think was in the before.
Something came through here once.
Yeah, but there's still issues. There's still water drainage issues. Thank you.
Hi, Linda Lee. I live at 1280 East Forest Hill. So one of those 3 homes that you mentioned with the detached garages. I just have 2 questions. You mentioned about bringing those lots up about 6 feet with soil. So what, and I know that there's a swale there or a ditch to kind of take care of that, but what does that do to our backyards that aren't being raised that 6 feet? Are we gonna, I don't get water in my backyard now. Will we get that?
Well, you know, I asked that too, Linda, and I was under the assumption 12, 13, 14 were being raised, but I think he was talking about 4, 5, and 6. Oh, the entire site is going up 6 feet. Thank you for that.
And the ones in the back, that's a little bit higher, so, you know, it's all gonna drain toward that green horizontal line. So that's my bigger concern. Where my house sits is one of those 3 houses that are we now gonna get water in our backyards because everything else is up 6 feet.
And I'd be a liar. We don't want to impact you. I mean, we're not here to
No,
correct
and
your
I get
problem,
that.
but
And
we're not
I
here to
want
make
to
it
believe
worse.
that the engineering department has done their due diligence and this will correct any problem. It's just that 6 feet that kind of concerns me a little bit. And then my only other comment, the creek that's there right now, that really does not flow too much. It's not, I used to cut that grass up to that. I don't anymore because the water just sits there. It's got nowhere to go. And that could very well be the culvert that you talk about that was 18 inches or pretty small. That could be holding it up. There's some trees in Abendschein Park where the flower fair was that have gone down. So maybe the trees are blocking the water flow. I'm not sure. But that water in that stream really just kind of sits. It doesn't have the opportunity to flow, which is probably why these guys have some problems as well. So good luck.
Hi, Omar Barasni. I live at 1101 East Forest Hill Avenue. Beside the concern that my neighbor just raised, I'm away from the water issue, but my concern also with Forest Hill traffic. If you notice, we've been getting more traffic as it is now. Adding these many houses was going to do to Forest Hill traffic. The second, when they came back in 2022 for the condos, and I think the fire has an issue that not having another exit to the north.
You know, I can have fire talk about that with the cul-de-sacs, but it's been extended. Jeff can clarify on that when he has a chance. We'll bring you up in a bit.
And with all due respect to the developer here, I mean, this is the early stages. They're supposed to be bending backward to you, and they're not providing like simple, requirement. And what's gonna happen when they start the project and things doesn't go as well as we, planned? Are they gonna really cooperate with us or with you as a committee? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Jason Strimzek. I'm at 926 East Forest Hill. I neighbor Kathy and Kathy's parents. I'm the start of where all the farm field is still. We have any major rain, it blows the manhole cover off on Forest Hill. Floods my driveway, washes out my driveway, fills my field, and then it just goes down to them. So there's a bigger issue here with water not being captured properly, I think. But, I mean, I got pictures and videos showing it. You guys are out there several times a year fixing my driveway because the water just pours out of the manhole. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, one more. Yeah, we can't keep revolving. We can't keep doing this, folks.
To add something.
This is
2 seconds. So the raising of the 6 feet, our whole driveway is raised probably a good 6 to maybe to 10 feet at some portions, especially during where our home foundation is. So if they go 6 feet on all of their properties, that's just going to create one giant ditch for water runoff as well. So it's either going to run into the park or it's going to run where this proposed ditch is and further flood. So that's all I'd say.
Thank you. Hey, Linda, what you got?
This is more of a positive comment, so.
Well,
Go
still.
with that one, end with that one. The sidewalk on the east side of that, whatever that street is named, I, as a resident right there, don't see that as a problem. I see it less of a burden for the house that would be right next to it, because then they would not have to worry about snow removal on that sidewalk. And it's literally one house. I think a sidewalk on one side is perfectly acceptable in this particular location.
Thank you. Okay. We got a lot there. I'm gonna just run through you guys one more time. Comments?
I have one comment.
Okay, we're starting on your end.
Yes, sorry, but I'm concerned about overtopping the road with all of that. The road itself will be flooded with all of that, especially the resident that had the picture with a manhole cover flooding top. So I have not heard about studies or modeling about how is that going to be addressed with raising the I want to say the road, but you're raising you're raising everything pretty much, because you're raising the road, in the cul-de-sac and everything inside. So you're pretty much raising outside too.
I think, Ashley, would you mind fielding that one?
Sure. So a lot of what it comes down to is anything that's coming into the site, the developer is required to detain, treat, manage. They aren't allowed to raise up their site, block it. They're not allowed to sheet it off to neighboring properties. At the end of the day, anything coming into their site, they're going to receive it, they're going to manage it, they're going to detain it, and then they're going to release it at a rate that is acceptable to the city. That is very stringent and very challenging to meet. We've had very early conversations that revolved around stormwater. We aren't quite there yet, which is acceptable at this time. So this is preliminary plat. Once that is approved, then we go into more of the final design aspect, final stormwater design, work back and forth with developer and designer. So again, as Mayor Dan has mentioned, these projects don't make situations worse. They don't block things. They have very strict requirements when it comes down to stormwater. Understanding this is a very challenging area. It's very, very flat. There's a lot of floodway. West is flat, east is flat. There's a lot of challenges, and it's very, very flat. But you know, the talk of raising things 6 feet and whatnot isn't going to be detrimental to neighbors to the south or backwater up, because they are not allowed to do that.
Thank you, Ash. Also, before I ask Fire to just chime in on, I believe it was Linda's question, somebody's question. Hey, come on up, Jeff.
Jeff Malice, Assistant Chief, Oak Creek Fire. At this time, fire has no issues. Go further on with permits and stuff when it comes in on the width of the road and location of the hydrants. So at this time, we don't have an issue.
Okay, so they will have hydrants, but I'm sorry, whoever had that comment, I lost track of. You did, sir. But anyways, yeah, there used to be, cul-de-sacs could only be 1,500 feet, 1,200 feet long, somewhere in there. We just recently changed the code on that to accommodate some situations, and this happens to be one of them, where with adequate hydrants and what have you, it's acceptable. I actually don't know the distance of that road, but it's a good question. You are correct. There is one way in and one way out, but we do have cul-de-sacs that exist in the city that way. Trust me, that the fire guys, they're coming through. They're going over the grass. They're getting in. Nothing's really going to stop those guys, whether you got a fence or whatever. They're coming in. Okay. Boy, oh boy. You know, I really wish, I don't like trying to engineer and speculate on the fly. I don't want the thing dead by any means, but I wouldn't like these things a little more thoroughly investigated, I guess, for my liking. I'm not speaking for you, I'm just speaking for me. Because there's just, you know, 3 issues, whether just get them, because like I said, I'm just, not only do I don't want to impact the existing residents, I don't want anybody going in there and in the end, just having constant issues as well. We do have those areas in the city that were done years ago, and as other things develop, it's not getting worse. It's just they've always built in situations like this from day one where there's some pumps involved. And I can tell you on the backside of my subdivision, there's folks that are that way long before I got in. So that bothers me the most. This one. So, Ryan?
On that topic, I mean, that's the reason why we measured the high groundwater and why we're staying above the high groundwater. These sump pumps will never run.
Okay.
Well,
it's his opinion, guys. Their opinions.
It's engineering, and this is how, almost any other subdivision that we do business in has a seasonal high groundwater separation for that purpose. They put the basement floor or the drain tile 2 feet above as high as the water goes underground in a season, right? So if the water doesn't get to the basement, there's no way it's getting into the drain tile, there's no way it's getting into the sump pump. It's engineered. This isn't an opinion. This is why these municipalities have groundwater separation ordinances. And while Oak Creek doesn't have one, we are doing a 1 foot groundwater separation. So we don't have those. I don't want to build a house that has a sump pump that runs constantly. I don't want to sell a house that has a sump pump that runs constantly.
Yeah, agreed.
It's bad practice. And we're not doing it here. So I just want to confirm, I mean, this is a preliminary plat submittal. So we're here going on, I think we're voting on the preliminary plat. If we're not able to make the stormwater work, that's a separate issue, but we are here, I think, voting on the preliminary plat itself.
Plain well taken. Yeah.
So, and I don't know if anyone here can even answer this. So the ground, the study was done on the seasonal high water mark. I mean, isn't it conceivable that could change over time?
I guess I'm not an engineer. I can't really answer that. I mean, it's staining that's happened over, the last, however, since the ground has been there, right? So they'll look at the layers in the soil and there'll be gray staining. It'll be gray and then all of a sudden it'll be brown, and the gray is where the water has stopped. So if it went higher than that, it would show higher than that.
So question for Christy. Todd. Preliminary plat, and said, and it's preliminary. So I mean, this thing's subject to change. Deal one. Let's just assume it's approved tonight. Then it goes to council. No, it's here, but it's got to come back. I mean, when do we get a second kick on this stormwater? We don't.
So the next steps that would be going in front of any kind of council would be the development agreement would be the next step. So once the preliminary plat is approved, we would enter into a development agreement with the developer. Within that, we would be highlighting all of those public improvements. Sidewalk would be one of them, the street lighting, any of the public infrastructure essentially. So the water, the sanitary,
the water,
the trees we could include in there, likely street trees.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that would be included in the development agreement. That would then go to council. Once that is approved, that then gives the ability for the city to start reviewing the final engineering plans at the same time the stormwater management plan is submitted. So we would be reviewing that as well. And then one of the final items to go to council would be the stormwater maintenance agreement. And then at that point, once they would have final signed plans, they could go to construction. And then once all public improvements have been constructed and accepted by the city, then you would go through the final plat process at that time.
So it would come through our engineering department, at least again, then in writing, guarantees on the issues we have, whether sidewalk trees or stormwater are addressed.
Correct. And that's why those are conditions. The suggested motion has those conditions that sidewalks be shown on both sides. While it may not be a criteria to submit with a preliminary plat, it is a code requirement per 17.04, excuse me, 17.0504. Also, the tree preservation, while it may not be like a checklist item to include with your preliminary subdivision plat, excuse me, it is a code requirement that those trees be replaced at a certain ratio per 170505 paren D. And that's why those conditions are listed, that a revised preliminary plat be submitted that staff can review. It doesn't need to come back to Plan Commission, but that it details those particular items. So that's why the conditions are stated the way they are.
So if there's going to be any changes to the conditions, it would be approved upon these 8 conditions that staff has outlined here. And if there's any changes to them, you guys would make the changes to them here. And one other thing, you said it a couple times, I trust my engineering staff, and none of us are engineers, and.
No, and I agree
You know what I
with
mean?
you.
So.
It's just, you know, I also believe residents that live there too, and again, I'm not intimate with that area. I drive by it, and I know it's wet.
It's the unfortunate truth of almost all land that's left to develop. I mean, you probably hear this all the time. It's the same argument, water and traffic.
Okay, this one's wetter than most. How's that? Okay, I just want to make sure that do everything we can. I'm not saying we get everything right, but we got to do our due diligence to just make sure, because as you said, none of us are engineers, and I don't know if you are, but I'm certainly not.
I hate to say that,
So
but
now
I am an engineer, and
Yeah,
all my
but you're-
questions
again,
are
but
based on
what I
my
want,
engineering experience.
I really want a stormwater engineer. So I think Ashley did a wonderful job kind of summing it up. I think that's what I was looking for more than anything. That just because it's a preliminary plat approval tonight doesn't mean it's going in. Am I correct in saying?
Yes.
Hang on, let me hear from my staff, because I
sure.
trust them. Christie?
I mean, if there's a motion to approve, subject to whatever conditions, engineering gets into details with the developer. A development agreement for utilities and that sort of thing goes to the common council, but then they get the permits. So there's not another kick at the cat as far as Plan Commission goes. Is that what you're asking?
Well,
Sorry.
not necessarily Plan Commission. It's the water that's bothering me, for
A
Christ's sake.
stormwater management plan does have to be approved by the engineering department. Absolutely.
That's what I want to know,
Yes.
because if they have problems with it, we need to stop, whether at planning or at council. That's what I want to know. And I think that's what you said.
Yes, I mean, lately with these more challenging sites, it has not been uncommon to go back and forth with 10 rounds of comments between our stormwater consultant and their designer. I mean, it used to be, a round or two, address the comments and move on, but these have been challenging sites, and we have been holding designers to meet our standards. I mean, one even got kicked back from MMSD, which was surprising. So, I mean, we definitely do our due diligence when it comes to stormwater, and we don't make exceptions.
And I've learned that because we asked for an exception already, and Ashley told us no.
Okay.
And then one other thing that you guys might have missed when Ashley was speaking earlier is that generally municipalities will use the guidelines provided by MMSD for stormwater, and Oak Creek's stormwater ordinance is considerably more restrictive than
We
the
get
general
it.
standard.
MMSD is an amazing organization, and thank you
You
for that
guys are up
compliment
here.
to say we're above them, because they're tops in the world.
And I guess just one more thing, I mean, that we do have the ability through the development agreement with that public infrastructure and further define that with sidewalk requirements.
Yeah, and I know we're not gonna work, yeah, okay.
I mean, there's even another conversation, not to completely get off topic here, but we've been requesting like inscribed outlots within the cul-de-sacs, something that currently is not in our standards. We've been requesting it of developers, and they've been just doing it just aesthetically. I think it looks a lot better. So that's something that we would like to have further discussions with the developer on that as well.
All right, are we all thoroughly confused now?
I got one more. I got one more.
Go ahead.
I would be more open to putting in the outlots if you guys are willing to trade. Maybe we don't put the sidewalk up the side yards of the existing house in lot 14. Maybe we go around the cul-de-sac and then just put it back in the cul-de-sac, and then maybe we could consider these islands in the cul-de-sacs. Seems like a lot of people like that.
We'll defer to staff on those discussions.
Sad.
I
Make a
know,
deal?
we can't cut a deal tonight.
That
We're
point
not
is that
engineering
it's
on the
part of
fly.
the code as a requirement, and
Okay.
it's not something that's a very.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Okay.
It's in the code in two places,
Yeah,
right? It's in
it
chapter
is.
17 in your municipal code, and then it's also in chapter 14, the subdivision section, that alludes to the sidewalk as well.
For the sidewalk. And if that's what you guys, if that's fine.
All right.
I had a question. Would staff be more okay with holding this and getting some of the answers that you weren't giving, or that really at this point doesn't matter to you?
Oh, I think I'm confident that the development
It could very well be that I lose 2 lots because I need a bigger pond and the whole thing doesn't work. I mean, that
Yeah.
could end up happening. You know what I mean? It's like Ashley
it's
said.
a preliminary. Again, we're farther along than we were with the first one. Go back. This, we should really freak out, because here it is. You know, okay. Are we ready to try a motion on this one?
I do have one additional question. So with the, what is it called? The easement, not receiving any feedback about vacating the easement, should that be one of the items on here too, or is that something to address later?
It will need to be vacated. I mean,
Would it be relocated? Would you guys take an easement over the new pathway, or would that just be,
Well, we're not, yeah, and
that be on the HOA?
I believe that would be on the HOA, just initial thoughts, but we should discuss that further though, to see, just because there is an easement that is to the west of there, that's not under the same document, from what I understand. So we should revisit that.
I might consider having an easement even over the HOA, just so if something does need to be created out or it silts up or something like that, that the city can go in there and do work and bill it back.
Typically, when we
either
have
that, or-
easements, it's still on the property owner to do their maintenance and their due diligence on it. There's just restrictions within there, and it gives the city the ability to go in there if something major would happen, that, hey, we've got to get in there and rush and do something. But at the end of the day, even when we have easements on properties, it's up to that property owner to make sure that that easement is in good working condition. They're the ones that doing the regular maintenance on it.
Just that.
You can't speak from the back, ma'am.
Again, you had mentioned, somebody had mentioned earlier that that creek, that the city owns the easement on that. Has that been confirmed? My parents used to own this property, and I thought my mom said that they never gave the city easement rights for that. For the creek. There's an easement that the existing driveway to the back, the current property owner, Cheryl, I think she has that easement, but I didn't think there was an easement that the city owned, if that's how that works, for the creek. I just wanted to follow up with that. Which is fine, if that's the way it is. I just want to make sure that that's known.
So does that mean we have to add an item to the agenda for the easement vacation? No? We're good, okay.
Okay. Are we ready? Look at a motion. Okay, hearing none. Look for a motion on 10.
Put it on hold.
All right.
Okay. I'm thinking of a motion to put this item on hold for 30 days until we get a little more information on the wetlands with the city engineering department.
As far as the wetlands go, the city's hands are basically tied. We look to the DNR for approval, and the DNR approve filling of these wetlands. So at the end of the day, even though they put in their letter, you know, whatever language that they ended up including in there, at the end of the day, they approved it, and we do not have anything in our ordinances or anything that says that we can go against DNR. So DNR provided their approval, so therefore the city is concurring with DNR. It's unfortunate, but that's, I mean, we combed through a lot, and we talked to our stormwater engineer, and although unique to some, we cannot do anything about the permission that the DNR has provided to fill the wetlands.
So a hold would accomplish nothing. We'd be in the same predicament we're in right now. So that was not a motion because you were thinking of it. You didn't cast the motion.
I'm a legit. I have one concern. I don't want to be back here in the next session and staff is saying he still hasn't provided this or he hasn't provided that. That's what I'm worried about here.
And that's why I had the question, what happens from here? And Ashley explained it very well. Then it goes through our engineering department, and all those come out through the development agreement has to come forward.
I mean, realistically, Dan, would having a landscape plan here, was that even a topic of discussion besides the fact that I didn't submit it? These conversations are around traffic, drainage, the plat itself, right? I mean, a landscape plan, it's going to be checked by staff that it meets all the ordinances. It's going to be checked by staff that I plant the 3-to-1 trees for the ones we're taking down. I mean, that's why you have staff to implement these sort of things, right? It's on a site that is this touchy for a guy to go and spend all of that money before I come in here and have these conversations and get a feel from the plan commissioners and common council. It would be foolish, and it's not that I'm being obtuse. It's just that they're not required, and I wanted to get a feel and have a discussion with you guys before we go full force into this thing.
I guess you and I are not going to see eye to eye on this because you're making the rules at this point. Like they've asked
They're
for the
your
stuff,
rules. They're all your rules
right?
in your ordinances.
But yeah.
These are your rules. I'm just asking you to follow.
Okay, hang on. Just keep in mind in the in the suggested motion, all right? The applicant has to provide a detailed landscape plan, location of trees, blah, 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 as per section of code. Sidewalks get addressed. All required development and stormwater agreements, land use, building codes are coordinated with the engineering department. So if they don't meet that, it ain't coming through when it hits council. For about the third time, I think that's what I needed for assurance. That there's something that this is going to be worked out for the best availability that we can to protect the existing residents and future residents, still accomplish the subdivision, whatever we want to call it at this point. So, any other discussion? Okay. No. Oh man. Okay, this is it. Last time up, because come on up, ma'am. Because it's not a public hearing.
I know, it's not a public hearing.
Name.
Kathy Bernicki, 1100 East Forest Hill. I know it's not a public hearing, but you're saying that, yeah, they can go and put a house up on a mountain, you know, to avoid the water, and yet we have all the water problem.
Go ahead,
And the
finish up,
storm,
please.
and the water problem is not an issue here. It's just him saying that he can build there.
No, it's a huge issue here. So but keep in mind, what's going on right now is a preliminary plat plan.
I understand.
Yeah, okay, I know you get that, and he's saying how he's gonna accomplish this. What he has to do is make sure our engineering department confirms that it'll work.
Okay, I guess
And then
my irritation is we have water issues and we've tried to deal with them. And I know you're not the DNR and you're not involved in it, but we can't change anything that we have going on. And yet they want to build, which I understand, which will cause more problems for us. And it's all going to be kind of approved.
Again, it's
in the building.
assuming and again, I'm not, you're saying, well, it's gonna cause more problems for us. That's where our city engineers come in.
That's what I'm afraid, that maybe that won't be addressed.
Well, it will, and that's why I'm up here just really scratching my head, because I wanna make sure that gets addressed, and it gets addressed through that development agreement that Ashley described, and that comes through after that's all agreed upon and engineered out by stormwater engineers.
I guess when
Yeah.
you know, you see different, you know, in different parts of the
Yes.
city, there's lowlands
Yes.
also that have been built
Right.
on, and it's still the people down the road that
Right.
still have the issues.
And again, little above my pay grade, but they will take into account the land and the water and the ponds. And then, you know, Ashley said
Okay.
things like discharge rates. Those ponds are designed to hold it. And
Okay,
collect it.
I get what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
just that, you know, one approval just all of a sudden just kind of wipes
morphs
around the
into-
problem
yeah.
and keeps continuing
And believe
forward.
me, with this one, I think they've looked at it a lot of ways, and I think it's gonna be looked at a lot more.
And
And-
our neighbors, we all went and put together something for Steve Kirkowski
Yeah.
with pictures and
No, I
I don't think it got to anybody's desk because he went ill.
yeah, he did. Unfortunately, he didn't run again. So you do
And I-
have a new alder person, and I can bring Alicia up to speed on it,
Okay.
and she can, you know,
And I can show
she's
her
very
the
new.
pictures.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But I guess what I'm saying is,
I know this is
I just wanted to make sure there was one more step with people with far better expertise than me, and that's where I depend on our staff.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
if our staff says in the end they can't come to an agreement with Mr. Jansen, or he can't agree to terms or whatever, because it's preliminary, like, you know, they were up here bartering over lots or whatever.
Yeah.
For all we know, it may not look like this the next time you see it as well, due to the stormwater issues.
Okay, thank you.
Did I say that correctly? Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna ask for a motion because,
I'll make the motion.
okay, make the motion, Fred.
Okay. Seifert moves that the Plan Commission approves a preliminary subdivision plat for the Parkside subdivision submitted by Brian Jansen Berkner for the property at 1340 East Forest Hill Avenue with the following conditions. One, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. Two, that the preliminary plat is revised to show the sidewalk with minimum width of 5 feet along all sides of the lots. That about, that about the public street per section 17.0504 of city code. 3, that the applicant provides a detailed landscaping plan including location, quantity, and specific species of trees, as required by section 14.110 and section 17.0505 (D) of city code. 4, that all required development and stormwater management and land use building permits are coordinated with the engineering department. 5, that all water and sewer utility connections are coordinated with the Oak Creek Water and Sewer Utilities. 6, that all revised agency comments, if any, are incorporated as required. 7, that all technical corrections, including but not limited corrections required for compliance with the municipal code and Wisconsin statute, are made prior to recording. 8, that all revisions to the plot are submitted electronically to Department of Community Development prior to submission of permit application.
Gavich will second. Roll call, beginning with Christine.
And I, just because I trust Ashley.
Balch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Ladani, no.
Seipert, no.
Chandler, no.
Four, it goes.
I think since Commissioner Siebert made the motion,
He did not make a motion. He said, I'm thinking of making
I've
early on. Oh, no, he made the motion. I'm
I
sorry.
made
The
the
first
motion.
time he was thinking about it.
yes.
He was thinking about a hold. Okay.
So with Commissioner Siebert
Oh.
making the motion in approval, for approval, I don't
Yeah.
think Commissioner Siebert can then vote no on it.
Oh, good catch. I'm confused. No, he made the
Made
motion.
the motion. If he was the second, yes. Yes.
Guys.
Well, let's finish. We have to finish. the
We,
roll
we
call.
did do the roll call, and it was
Oh,
still,
sorry.
it was still 4-3.
Mhm.
Yes.
It was 4-3 anyways, even with him going on and
I don't think that's Robert's rules. I don't think he can do that. I don't think you can make a motion and then vote negative against the motion you made.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I can do it.
Commissioner Siebert,
Can I do it again, Christie? Can I read it again
how
and
did
then we can vote on it?
Chauncey? I didn't
No.
catch Chauncey.
Said no.
You said no.
Right now, it's 4-3, but you made the motion, and then you voted to deny
But
it.
he
I
made
guess
the
he
motion.
can. Okay. We're gonna let it go at 4-3, and we're gonna consult with the city attorney. Come back here, we'll have to call a special meeting. We'll have to revote. You'd have to, the vote and the roll's already taken place. Yeah, the results will come out the same vote. But, again, I think he can vote, I think he can call for the motion. And
deny.
did.
Yes, that is what he did.
But he's saying you can do that.
Actually, it
can't
happened
do
in the
that.
past with Terry, so.
It always has to be in the affirmative, right? So then if
Right.
everybody would say no, that doesn't mean that one person is saying yes. Everybody can, there's been times where everybody
Yeah,
said no.
the majority still rules.
And you're just reading off the screen, you're just not stating your opinion.
Okay, hang on. Let Christie come up with.
We'll
Just-
leave it as it is and see if maybe after we're done with item 12 we have.
Okay, we're gonna move on. In the meantime, communicate or look that up, please. For now, we will continue on. Item 11. Jeez, actually, it's Christie. Todd, you look it up. 11. Review a certified survey map dividing and reconfiguring the properties at 10304 South Oakview Parkway and 10523 South Howell, submitted by the City of Oak Creek property owners. Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is going to be a really quick item. So this item was before the Plan Commission to subdivide and reconfigure the 2 parcels that are in Oakview Business Park that are owned by the City of Oak Creek. And in anticipation of future development, the city proposed a certified survey map that we thought would accommodate the future user appropriately. However, in the few months since that time, the future user, who is now announced to be Dursey, needed some reconfiguration of the lots. So this is what's before you is the proposal that went to the Plan Commission in February of 25. We never did take it to Common Council because things were still in motion with this particular user. So what's before you is just a reconfiguration to go to 2 lots, one being 31.15 acres in area and the other being 8.8. So the City of Oak Creek would retain lot 2, the 8.8 acres, with anticipation to sell that portion to a future user. But the user for lot 1 is now established. It's Dursey, and this lot configuration before you this evening meets their requirements and their site plan layout. So with that, staff recommends that the Common Council approve the certified survey map as proposed, subject to technical corrections possibly being made.
Thank you, Christie.
Thank you.
Would the patient last applicant want to come up and say anything? Or do you want to wait on questions, sir? Yeah, we'll just need your name and address, and then if you want to make a general statement, that's great. If you want to wait on questions, that's fine. Okay, applicant will wait on some questions. Christine?
I have no questions.
Steve?
I'm just tired.
I have no questions either.
Ashley?
No questions. Thanks.
Don?
No questions.
Brad?
No questions.
And Chauncey?
No questions, thank you.
I do not either. You know, on this certified survey map, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, and Christie ran through it very clearly. So we'll just call for a motion on 11.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission recommends to the Common Council that the certified survey map subdividing and reconfiguring the properties at 10304 South Oakview Parkway and 10523 South Howell Avenue be approved with the following condition: that all technical corrections, including but not limited to spelling errors, minor coordinate geometry corrections, and corrections required for compliance with the municipal code and Wisconsin statutes are made prior to recording.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Steve.
Bouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Okay. Item 12 is site and architectural plan review for the construction of Dursey Inc. headquarters in Milwaukee Division. Proposed business at 10304 South Oakview Parkway and 10523 South Howell Avenue. Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as was recently announced and caught a lot of media attention, we would like to welcome Dursey to moving into the City of Oak Creek. What they're proposing is in the 2 parcels zone manufacturing is to construct a light industrial building and move their industrial headquarters to this particular site. So Dursey is a Milwaukee-based company. They're in the Valley. They specialize in trade show and event industry, and they produce exhibits examples in the pictures before you. Thank you. I am looking at my screen, but I didn't move it forward for all of you. I'm sorry. So they would consolidate their Waukegan, Illinois and Milwaukee facilities at this particular location. They do anticipate employing about 240 jobs at this facility, and they would construct just shy of 300,000 square foot building with room for a future addition to the south. Their typical hours of operation would be 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, but of course, you know, for certain clients, they may have occasional weekend hours. So their proposal does meet the bulk and dimensional standards of the M1 Manufacturing District, and the Oakview Business Park does have its own planned unit development over these particular areas. You may recall we did an amendment to include the Morja Farm property within the PUD. So their building is broken down into 3 types of uses, about 52,000 square feet of office spread over 2 floors, 77,000 square feet of fabrication floor space, and then about 167,000 square feet of storage and warehousing floor. This is the basic site plan. North is up, so the building will run for the most part north-south. The retention pond on the east side of that is already there. It exists. It's owned by the Owners Association of the Oakview Business Park. And then parking will be on the north and the west side of the building, and the area for future expansion will be to the south. A few things to highlight here is that the total parking required is 336 per code, but they're proposing 299, so short. However, I'll get into that in more detail. They're also proposing 2 entrances to the site, one off of Oakview Parkway and one off of Howell. So the entrance off of Howell has been approved by the DOT. They did submit a traffic impact analysis, and Howell will be widened slightly at that one particular area to accommodate the truck access needed for the turn lane. So regarding the landscaping plan, per the code, it does state that uninterrupted parking lots along the full street frontage of a commercial or manufacturing development, there should not be uninterrupted parking lots. However, it does say that the Plan Commission may provide an exception due to the physical orientation of the building. So for this particular case, you have a very large 300,000 square foot industrial building. Those have pretty much one entry point for staff and clients. So it only makes sense to have the parking consolidated to one area of the site. So that staff's opinion is that that would be a good case for the parking along the north side of the building. And then also there is a 30-foot wide and in some spaces even wider landscaping or green space between the property line and the parking lot. Also, a tree inventory was conducted. 12 trees were noted for removal, and based on the replacement criteria and the tree replacement ordinance, they will replace those with a total of 37 new trees on the site. Just one little notation here, there's a small wetland area that will be filled and will require a DNR permit. So now we get to the pretty pictures. So this is a view looking east, if you're in the parking lot on the west side of the building looking east, and this is the main entry. Obviously, beautiful architecture, really focused on the entry design. What you see here is the western portion on the right side of the slide, and then the northern building elevation on Oakwood Road on the left side of the slide. This is the view from the east side of the building, so on Howell looking west. And then again, on the east side of the building, kind of looking northwest perspective. So the 2-dimensional elevations, just kind of going into some product and building material details. They have the curtain wall glazing system at the main entrance, lots of glass, obviously. They worked really hard to provide a wow factor for this building. and it's the main entrance to Oakview Business Park. So, you know, the city's been holding out for the right user for the site, and they did a great job of architecturally detailing what the city's vision was for this corner as well. So you've got aluminum storefront window systems, precast concrete panels, variation colored white or painted white and charcoal color. You've got the ACM metal panels at the rooftop, and then aluminum storefront windows along the upper level of the building on all elevations. And then, of course, the canopies are constructed a pre-finished metal panel. The dumpster enclosure is located about 60 feet from the building on the west side, on the south side of the parking lot. It will be constructed of the precast concrete panels, so it does meet the code requirements. And then I just realized I forgot to go into detail about that parking shortage. So the code, again, they're about 30, just shy of 40 stalls short of what the code requires. However, they're projecting the employee headcount to be 216. So they've got 259 parking spaces shown. So their projected headcount all the way up to the year 2030 is 216 people, and they anticipate visitors rarely to exceed 10 to the site. So, however, they do identify areas of future parking along the east side of the building if necessary, but they really feel that given the employee headcount and visitors, that there would be sufficient parking on site, and that, you know, we do encourage to not have to build too much parking if unnecessary. So with that being said, this is the suggested motion in front of you, and I'll turn it over to the commission. Thank you.
Welcome, guys. Thank you for your patience. But the floor is yours. Welcome to Oak Creek.
Chris Johns, 333 East Chicago Street, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53202. I'm with Epstein Yoon Architects, EUA. We're excited to be here. This is a great story. I've been aware of this site for a long time, so I'm glad that great client, great manufacturer has come to the city. With me here today, I have Russ Fowler from Jersey.
Good evening. I'm Russ Fowler. I'm Vice President of Marketing Environments for Jersey. I live at 2036 Prospect in Milwaukee. And I've been working with Chris. He designed our previous building for us on Canal Street as well. Yep, seen Ewing did.
Beautiful.
Hot mic? Okay. I'm Matt Carey with Pinnacle Engineering Group. We're the civil engineers helping out with the project overall. So.
Good evening, Chris Wida, with Vice President of Operations with Dercy, 20-year employee of Dercy 710 West Clovernook Lane in Glendale.
Appreciate it.
May I just say one thing? I forgot to make clarification. In the report, I had mentioned that the second stormwater basin will be conducted on site. And to clarify, that would only be when and if the future expansion goes forward.
Christy,
Nope.
I gave you bad information.
Oh, so okay.
The architect should have responded for the civil engineer in your email.
Oh. Okay. No, I can handle that. That one is technically needed right now, and a lot of it has to do with mainly the truck court that's proposed on the west side of the building because it's at a much lower elevation. It's down 4 feet relative to the rest of the facility, mainly so that the trucks can back in and be down 4 to 8 inches compared to the rest. But so when looking at that, and then also looking at the future expansion to get that water all the way around that future expansion to the south and all the way back up to where those ponds are, we really need a secondary stormwater management facility at a lower elevation to help with that. So that's a little bit more context for that.
Thank you.
That small area here, and it would be expanded upon as the future addition is completed. So if you go to our colored site plan, it runs along the length of Howell Avenue in the light blue. That would be the pond required for the addition. The addition is planned to be 260,000 square.
It's very exciting. This property was really special to the city. They wanted a signature building on this corner. And Dursey delivered. With potential to expand and really bring some great manufacturing jobs here. So, with that, if anybody wants to speak on Dursey's behalf before I go to questions.
Make our announcement, because as you know, we are closing down our Waukegan facility and moving those employees up here. And on June 10th, we announced it to Waukegan and to our Milwaukee division, and it was a resounding excitement to be moving to Oak Creek.
Glad to hear that. Resoundingly excited to have you coming as well. And again, you know, this property is taken some different iterations, and as we said, we're meeting with Dursey over the last year or so, and it's just wonderful to see it at this stage. There's probably a few things, questions, but you know, nothing that can't be overcome, I believe. So, we'll start with questions. Chauncey?
Okay, I do have maybe a couple questions. So, in regards to the layout and the safety of individuals, because you're going to have a lot of people in this area, how are you ensuring their safety in that parking lot in particular? Because it's a lot of cars that are moving around or different vehicles in that area. How are you marking out the areas?
Well, right now, the car traffic does not interact with the truck traffic. There's a small maintenance connection there on the north end of the truck court. But there is a isolated walking path it's on the north side of the main drive that connects to the lines with the front door, which is a collector for that. The other spots are double loaded, so it's not a lot of cross traffic for pedestrian to foot traffic. So that helps a lot from the getting people off I guess we'll say the driving lanes into a walking path. That answers your question?
Yes. And with that, I had another question, specifically with the trucks that are coming in. Are they only allowed to access from Howell or both locations?
They can come both locations. The current, so they can circulate both directions. It just gives a relief valve based on times of day with that controlled intersection. Perhaps it may back up. I don't know. The traffic study didn't support that. So they could go out through Howell if they needed to.
Okay, thank you.
Brad?
No questions at this time.
Okay, Don?
Same here, no questions.
Ashley?
My questions were answered regarding stormwater, so we're just going to be requiring that verification that the existing pond does indeed meet this proposal, and then we'll be working with you on stormwater management for that smaller pond you are proposing south of that development. Thank you.
No questions?
How big is your trucks that are carrying your goods, are transporting your materials?
They range. I think, you know, a lot of your deliveries are going to be FedEx, UPS, but then when you ship stuff off, road truck.
Yeah, exactly, Chris. Most of our daily truck traffic would be FedEx, UPS, box truck kind of stuff, and then up to 53-foot, semi trailers, 10, 12 a day, maybe at high points.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because this is on the corner of Howell and Oakwood Road, and sometimes Oakwood are not really allowed to have trucking on it, but yet trucks are using it, so it helps to have enforcement from you guys in addition of police enforcement as well. So if you see that they don't use Oakwood as a main route coming from the interstate, maybe they can come to a main route like I don't know, they can use Ryan Road or a different route.
Well,
for them.
Oakwood is posted. We know we have issues there, but, you know, hopefully they route down how.
That's what I'm saying,
that
for
is
them
the
to
plan.
help them to, their employees and their truckers to enforce that as well. Will be helpful.
So that would be west of the intersection. So Oakwood in front of, north of the building would
Yeah,
allow truck traffic.
coming out of Oakwood, we prefer you to turn right, which
Right,
is
yeah,
east,
right only
and
to
then on the
Howell, yeah.
Howell.
No, not a left, no western, yeah. And that's not a great way to go with a truck, I'd imagine.
It isn't, but we
I
do,
mean,
we do
you know-
experience problems from other vendors in the area.
Our office is in the third ward, and sometimes you see truck drivers lost in the third ward too, so also, it happens.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I myself, yeah, I don't. It's a great looking building, future expansion, the number of parking stalls doesn't bother me in the least. Like I say, as things change and shifts and people they'll address it. If you've seen their building in the valley, which Al grew, which is really the main cause of this, as well as closing Waukegan. Beautiful building, it really is. It's just gorgeous. Milwaukee's loss is our gain, you know. But can't say enough. It's a great addition to top off that park. So, there's no further discussion or questions. Motion.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission approve the site and architectural plans for the construction of a light industrial headquarters building for Durst Inc., a proposed business to be located at 10304 South Oakview Parkway and 10523 South Howell Avenue with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that revised plans be submitted to show the following modifications. A, rooftop equipment, detailed screening perspectives, and additional screening methods if needed. B, final transformer location. C, light pole heights, and final inventory of all light fixtures. 3, that verification of original stormwater management plan compliance for the Oakview Business Park stormwater retention pond system be submitted and approved by the engineering department. 4, that all revised plans are submitted electronically to the Community Development Department prior to submitting of any permit applications. 5, that this approval by a plan commission shall expire within 12 months after the date of approval if a building permit has not been issued.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Ashley.
Chinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Bauchai.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your patience. Again, welcome to Oak Creek. Look forward to your building. Great. Before we adjourn, just quick announcement. Tomorrow is Fair and Square. So at Drexel Town Square, we're going to have food trucks and a movie night. Weather permitting, folks. Everything we do here is weather permitting. Even the fireworks are weather permitting. I heard a lot about the fireworks. Anyways, that is Wednesday, and then we won't see you. But the 18th and 19th are dog days here in Oak Creek as well. So all our four-legged friends take over the square for 2 days on the 18th and 19th. So if you get an opportunity, bring the family out and see it. With that, looking for a motion to adjourn.
Seifert makes a motion for adjournment at 9:05.
Okay.
Or
Roll call.
9:03.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Got it.
Who's seconding?
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call. Bukavich, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Bauchai.
Chinsky, aye.
Thank you all.